Welcome to the Maharashtra State Board Technical Education is coming with the lead learning at your doorstep. Name of course is Utilization of Electrical Energy. The unit is Electric Drives and Elevators. Unit outcome is select the relevant enclosure of motor for the given application with justification. In the today's session, we will learn the purpose of enclosure and the types of enclosure. The key takeaway from the session is the type of enclosure, that is open type of enclosure, protected type of enclosure, screen protected type of enclosure, drip proof type enclosures, totally enclosed enclosures, pipe ventilated type enclosures, and flame proof type enclosures. Learner may pause the presentation and can go through the concept map. Enclosure. Enclosure means cover. So enclosure of motor is compulsory for following such a reason. First of all, it protects the operating personnel from the rotating parts. Also, the live parts of the motor such as winding terminals, slip ring and the brushes, they need to be covered fully. Also, it protects the motor against the foreign body and the severe atmospheric condition, because every time the situation is not suitable, motor has to operate in an atmosphere which is covered with the dust, dirt, presence of water or moisture content, chemical fumes, radiation, etc. So motor inner parts definitely needs a protection. This function is played very well by the enclosure. Also, sometimes it happens at the time of operation of the drive that the solid parts like the nuts, bolts or something like that may enter the motor accidentally. It may cause harm to the motor as well as to the operating persons also. So for all above discussed safety reasons, enclosure is one of the most important mechanical feature of an electric drive. It is very important to have a proper enclosure according to the situation. Now, types of enclosures. If we give a look to the type of enclosure, they are open type, protected, screen protected, drip proof, totally enclosed, pipe ventilated and the flame proof type. In open type of enclosure, motor is completely open from both the ends, the bearings being placed on the pedestals or the brackets. Since it is totally open, so no protection against dust and dirt or any other atmospheric condition. Although it is open, so cooling is very fast and cooling cost is also low. This type of enclosure is rarely used in actual practice because no protection of the live or the rotating parts of the motor. Now the protected type enclosure. In this system, motor is provided with some protective covering because there are the chances of the contamination in the atmosphere. So protective covering with the large openings for the ventilation are provided. Enclosure give protection against the live and rotating parts. Now the screen protected type enclosure. In this enclosure, ventilation openings in protective cover of a motor are again covered with a wire mesh screen. Okay, so it will give the better protection and also ventilation is there. Next is drip proof type enclosure. This type of enclosure is used when there is a presence of water or when atmosphere is very damp. So the ventilation openings are protected by the overhanging walls so that it will stop or it will prevent the entry of drops of water directly falling on the machine and will ensure the safety of the motor and the live parts or the windings. The example for the drip proof type of enclosure, that is the pumping motor. Totally enclosed type enclosure. As the name indicates, the enclosure is covering it fully. So in this enclosure, motor are provided with full protection against the increase of dirt, dust or any foreign matter. If we talk of the application like atmospheric situation in a coal mine, that is a coal handling plant, or the stone crushing quarries where there is the atmosphere full of the fine dust, or we take the example of the sawmills. Here there is a highest level of contamination can be seen. So totally enclosed type of enclosures is recommended. Now since it is totally enclosed, so heat dissipation rate it is very low in this design. Therefore, spatial cooling arrangement it is a must. So cooling fins are provided. Cooling fins that which is seen in power transformer or the bigger electrical device. Normally, it will include the cooling fins with the outer surface of the motor. So it will increase what cooling area and the drive will cool down very fast. Also, a shaft driven fan is provided for the air circulation at the end. Now, next is pipe ventilated type enclosure. As the name indicates, there is a pipe. Where it is used? So it is used in the large size of drive. The large size totally enclosed type enclosures are provided with the arrangement for the forced air cooling. What happens actually? The cool air from the outer atmosphere enters the drive. It comes in the contact with the heat which is present inside the drive. It will absorb the heat energy from inside of the drive and hot air comes out of the pipe ventilated type of enclosure. So this arrangement employs a duct or a pipe through which clean air is supplied to the motor from the outside. It is quite efficient way to cool down the drive and it will make the safety of the inner parts from the heat. Now next is flame proof type enclosure. These motors are designed for the use in the explosive atmosphere. For example, coal mines and the chemical plants. These are designed to withstand an explosion of specified gas inside the motor casing and prevent the ignition outside the motor. It may result in the form of spark, flashing or the explosion. So flame transmission from the inside to outside is strictly prevented. This avoids the serious fire hazards. So these are useful in the explosive atmosphere. Now the learner may go through this simple quiz and they can cross check their answer afterwards. You may also note down the question in the notebook. Cross check your answer. In the today's session, we have seen what is an enclosure, its a type and their purpose as per the atmospheric situation. Learners are recommended for the following books so that they can understand the topic very well. Thank you very much.